Hey garden friends, it is Heather at Bush Poppy Farm and this is Renovating the Ranch week 9. So oddly, it's Wednesday. It's been kind of a weird week, but busy. And so I haven't gotten as much done out here as I wanted to. Sunday, however, I came out with Mike and the kids and we did, I don't know, some work, moving some stuff, getting the straw put down in all of the beds, and so all that stuff is prepped and ready to go. I need to get the irrigation down. I was going to do that yesterday, and then I realized I didn't have the right parts. Plus, the last couple days, it's been chilly, not cold, but chilly and windy and very overcast out here, and I was cold. I couldn't get warm. So I just decided to go home and do work there. This morning, I'm here late. It's actually almost noon because I put together the first bouquets of the season for the cafe, Genuine Goodness in downtown Orinda. And so I spent time early this morning, harvesting and then making those bouquets, and now they're there. My CSA will be starting up the second week of April. So that part is about to kick in and everything's going to get crazy. I have lots of stuff just about to come on. The ranunculus are coming along. They are blooming. I still have fragrant stock, tons and tons of tulips, and of course still narcissus. And then all of the feverfew is starting to come along too, which I'm super excited about because I have multiple successions of that. So that should keep me going through probably July, which would be wonderful because it makes such a beautiful filler. And then out here at the ranch, let's go look and see where we are at. So like I said, it's been cold, overcast, and misting. So these beds aren't planted yet, but those are all for summer annuals. And I have I think zinnia is a whole row, celosia, coxcomb, and pampas plume is another row, and then another row is all the ornamental grasses and gomphrena and some other stuff for filler. So this area here is going to be my three sisters' garden. So corn, beans, and squash just for fun, and it'll look pretty too. I've got lots of salvias and lavenders and sweet alyssum and stuff in the plot now. These will all get big and expand, and so kind of fill in the area. We also direct seeded a whole mix of nasturtiums everywhere, as well as larkspur, two types of echinacea, and I have also planted gaillardia and pink dandelion. And then these were a gift from my friend Griffin. This is Hebe, a really beautiful purple euphorbia, this gorgeous lavender, two ceanothus, a breath of heaven, and this beautiful, what is it? Frosted violet euchera. Euchera is one of my very favorite plants. That guy's going to have to get some shade, so they really can't take direct blazing sun. So he will get moved to a spot where there's some shade, which is hard to find out here. This table and chairs actually is not going to stay right here. Once we move this pile of dirt and get the rest of the compost spread out, we're going to move the table and chairs here. And this area is the next on the list, and it's actually going to get taken care of this week, which is extremely exciting. So the Griffin came out and string trimmed all of this stuff, as you can see, and it goes back pretty far. It's relatively flat, which is exciting. So now we're going to use a skid steer to spread out that soil, level it all, pull out these shrubs, and that one there too, and I think it's coyote brush. And then I will build beds. And so eventually I'm hoping to have a hoop house on this spot, but that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. So in the meantime, I will have growing beds here. And then finally, right after we get back from Seattle, so the following week, I will be building a platform here for my beehives. So there's lots and lots of change coming really quickly. Oh, and then the other thing I'm going to be doing, we've left all these weeds standing because I'm going to be making a fermented plant juice out of all of these wild peas to use here as an amendment. What I will not be using is this guy. So little lesson here. You see this thing that looks like Queen Anne's lace? It is a member of the carrot family. You see the stem, what it looks like a purple mottling. This is poison hemlock. Poison hemlock is in almost every state in the United States. It's pretty awful. Hemlock is what the Greeks made Socrates drink. That was actually that was the way they executed people, poisoned by hemlock. It is highly toxic. You should always wear gloves when dealing with it because the sap can cause burns and blisters. But even more important, if you're going to be string trimming an area or even using a mower that will push stuff out the sides and not a mulching mower, make sure you wear an N95 mask and completely cover your body with protective clothing because the sap in poison hemlock can get aerosolized. You can breathe that in and it can kill you. There was just last night I read an article, and I'll try to find it and link it here. It was in Good Housekeeping magazine actually, and it was about a guy who was just clearing brush at his house like he always does in preparation for putting everything out in the green bin for the next day or that week. And he was using a string trimmer. That night, he woke up not being able to breathe, and he and his wife went to the ER. And then within a few hours, he was on a ventilator. His lungs were bleeding. They kept testing him for COVID, and they treated him for COVID, but he kept testing negative. So they had to figure out what else was going on. And his wife mentioned that he had been working outside, and so they started suspecting hemlock, and that's what it was. The hemlock had aerosolized when he was using his string trimmer. He had breathed that in, and he had poisoned himself. He did survive, but he was very, very close to death for quite a while. It was touch and go for quite a while. So that's super scary. And I know that it's all over here. It's everywhere. So I can hand pick it with gloves, no problem, get rid of it. But also you should never burn it. It's the same with, don't burn poison ivy or poison oak. Those oils can get into the smoke. Again, you can inhale them. It can cause serious, serious problems. So just some things to, I'm not trying to make anybody scared. Just some things to keep a lookout for and to know if you see these things popping up in your garden, how to deal with it. You can take down poison hemlock with protective clothing, put it in bags and have it sent, with your green waste away. I wouldn't compost it, and I would not, like I said, definitely don't burn it. So just one of those other poisonous plants that you should keep an eye out for. It does routinely kill livestock. They accidentally eat it, so it is a big problem for farmers and ranchers. It's even been known to kill pigs, and pigs have like cast iron stomachs. So just something to look out for. It's not new. It's been here for a couple hundred years, and it's all over the country. I think there's only 1 or 2 states where they don't have it. So anyway, just thought I would share that. So today, I'm not going to actually be doing that much work out here because I have just got a new shipment of seeds. I know. I promised I wouldn't buy any more seeds, but I just got a new shipment of seeds because I wanted to try a couple things, and I think I still have time this season. Mahogany Splendor hibiscus, which everybody grows, all the flower farmers grow for a beautiful filler. And here it is perennial. So I wanted to start those seeds, and even if I don't get to use it this year, I will have it for next year because it will overwinter for me. So, and I got a couple other random things, some more celosia seeds. What else did I get? These are all from Johnny's. Jewels of Opar or Limon. So yeah, a couple more things, seed trays I want to start. Basically, I'm realizing that because I have all this space and I haven't in the past, I have got to change the way I start seeds. I have to be pretty much always starting seeds. You know, if you have extra seedlings, and especially since I do my seedlings in soil blocks, it's not that much of a loss if you can't find a place to put them. I can always give them to friends, etc. So, but not having enough to fill a bed, or not having enough to fill, let's say you have a big pest attack and you lose a row of crops. If you always have something started, you always have something to go in the ground. So it's an insurance policy, and seed is super inexpensive. And so it's, you know, it's really just costing me a couple bucks in my time. And so, and I love starting seeds. It's very relaxing. The other thing I'm going to do is I have this is shade cloth. It's 60% shade cloth. And I bought it as part of the kit for my greenhouse at home, but I definitely don't need it at home. My greenhouse at home doesn't get direct sun all day. It gets maybe an hour or two of it. It gets indirect sun the rest of the time, so it's already fairly shaded, which keeps it from getting too baking hot in there. But as you know, this greenhouse has literally no shade. There's no trees anywhere close. And it gets sun on a sunny day pretty much the entire day. So that makes it hard to grow a lot of stuff in here because it just gets too hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this shade cloth, which is obviously not big enough. My greenhouse at home is a 9x12. This is a 12x20, so obviously not big enough for this greenhouse, but it is magnetic. All of the ends here, it's kind of hard to show you because I'm holding the phone with one hand, my camera with one hand, and but anyway, it's magnetic, really strong magnets, and I can use it on some of this stuff is magnetic in here, not all of it, but it will be easy to rig up. And so I plan to put it up on, you know, this section here and this section here, which are the south facing sections. And so that won't completely shade the greenhouse, but it will provide some shade and it will lower the temperature a little bit. I am also waiting for the arrival of the pistons for the greenhouse. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is an AVO, an automatic venting system here. All of the windows in this greenhouse have this automatic venting system. This has come unscrewed, so I'll have to rescrew it. But you see the piston there? The way this works is that piston is full of a specific kind of wax. When the temperature reaches a certain point, and these pistons I think are calibrated to the temperatures between 65 up to 65 degrees, I think 65 or 70. Basically, the wax heats up in there and expands, and it pushes the piston, which then opens this venting flap, this window. It's the same way that it works on all of these. So these pistons haven't been replaced probably since the greenhouse was built in 2005, and they only last 3 or 4 years or so. So I have ordered replacement pistons for all of the windows. It's going to be a big job, but once that happens, these will automatically vent whenever it reaches about 68, 70 degrees in here. And so it helps air circulation, it helps to cool things down. And then these two vents, I have to get parts for. These are run off of a thermostat. They will open at whatever temperature I set them at. And then this fan over here will run and push the air through the greenhouse. So it will pull from these vents in the back and it will push it out that direction. So you get airflow, air circulation, as well as letting in some fresh air. Because when you're growing in a greenhouse, It's not only the temperature that's important, but it's the humidity as well. I just want to show you here the lilies coming along. They are looking so good. And I realize now that they're growing, I actually could have planted them just a tiny bit closer, so I'll know that for next time. But I'm really excited. I cannot wait to start harvesting these. I think my customers are going to absolutely love them. And this might be a crop that I continue to do. We'll just have to see how it goes. We don't seem to have the lily beetle here, which is great because that can totally decimate crops. But I'm also growing them here in the greenhouse, so I'm not sure how they would do in the field. They probably wouldn't look as pristine. And then things out here are looking pretty good. The calendula is coming along. Everything is starting to root in. The rudbeckia, the squashes, the borage. We all along this wooden retaining wall here and all the way along there, we planted a whole different variety of nasturtium seeds. So it's going to be multicolored, and I can't wait because they'll spill over the top, and then they will just, nasturtium is great for self-seeding, and the seeds are so huge, they're super easy to plant, but they will just keep coming back because they self-seed so well. So I can't wait to see all the different colors that are going to be happening all along the edge of this bed. Yesterday I planted a bunch of amaranth, which is in here, as well as some more cosmos in the back because those get super tall. But some of the marigolds are starting to bloom. Those are the lemon drop ones. They're the shorter ones, the little bedding plant ones. Actually, I probably should pinch those instead of letting them bloom so I can get multiple blooms, but this is really more for attractiveness and pollinators. So the craspedia is doing well. The chamomile is taking. All the cress is doing okay. The cress really blends in. It's kind of hard to see it. It's very close to the color of the soil. But you can see all of the hemlock popping up here, and that's just going to be a thing for a while because this whole area was completely, if you'll remember in the videos past, completely full of hemlock. So that's fine. I can come in with my collinear hoe and just cut them off, and I'll just have to keep doing that for a couple years probably. They say it usually takes maybe 2, maybe 3 seasons to completely annihilate them if you can cut them off before they go to seed. So that is the plan there. Oh, here's another monkey flower blooming. This is a slightly different color, but so pretty. I have some coreopsis over here in soil blocks that I still need to plant in. But yeah, this area is starting to fill in. And even though it looks really sparse right now, all of these plants get big and they will spread. Hey there, it's Thursday morning. Just a lot. Griffin got so much done yesterday after I left, and I just wanted to show you. Today I'm going to be just laying out some irrigation and trying to figure out how to make it work with all the different zones that I need and not actually, I mean, I have 4 spigots, but I don't want to get 4 timers, and yeah, so there's like just a whole bunch of like mental gymnastics I need to go through to figure out how I'm going to make this work. But I will show you what is done at this point, which I feel like it's ready for me to lay out beds. This is so exciting. So look at this. First of all, that big pile of junk that was here is gone. Now I can just rake this flat. I can move the table and chairs over here. I can just make this a seating area, which is wonderful. There's still some compost left. I'm gonna have to order more, but not that much. Because look at this. It's flat, y'all. It's flat. It's ready for me to lay out beds. This is amazing. I'm really excited. It's been a fairly productive day. I'll show you the couple things that I got done. I have seeds to plant, so I gotta get home. So I put this bird netting up. It is basically to keep anything from eating the sunflowers. I have found that of all the flowers that I grow, sunflowers are the ones that the squirrels want, the deer want, everybody wants. So this netting will keep them from getting in here and eating these sunflowers. Sometimes the sunflowers can be tall, like 3 or 4 feet tall, and the squirrels will climb up the stems to eat to eat the sunflower heads. And so, you know, you just gotta, I haven't seen a single squirrel out here yet. They will come as soon as they start sensing there's food. So it may not be this year, but I just want to protect this first round so that I can actually get a good harvest off of them. Also, I went ahead and installed the mainline tubing for the upper beds. That is not buried in yet. Obviously, I need to dig a trench and bury it, but that will be tomorrow's job. So the timer is running all of the drip tape for the farm. And when I get these beds built down here, I will just continue the drip tape off of the end of this line here. So it's still going to be all the same. And at that point, I will pretty much have reached my limit of what this system can handle in terms of linear feet of drip. But that's okay, because that's all I plan to use for drip. And then on a separate line, a separate spigot, there's going to be 3/4 inch line going to the perennial beds all around, including here. This is the other thing that I did today, is started the Three Sisters garden. So I have 3 circles, well actually I have 6 circles, as you can see. But these 3 circles here have corn in them. I'm going to seed corn here. And the reason I'm doing that is because these 3 circles, the empty ones, are going to be a different variety. Now, if you grow corn close together, I mean, even 100 yards apart, and it's different varieties, they will cross-pollinate. And so what you get to eat is going to be very different from what you planted. But you can fix that problem by staggering the plantings. In other words, the corn over here is more mature. It will tassel well before this stuff does. I haven't even seeded it yet. So that way you can avoid cross-pollination. Tomorrow I'm bringing the beans out for this, for the corn that's already planted, because the beans at home are big. So these corn are advanced enough. I can plant the beans in with them, and hopefully the beans will, be able to grab onto the corn stalks as they grow, as it is supposed to be. Now, when I seed this corn, once it comes up, I'm going to wait 3 weeks and then seed the beans. Down the middle here, there's going to be a mound here, a mound in the middle, a mound on there, and then on the end. So I think that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 mounds of squash. And I think I'm going to choose pumpkins because I have a bunch of varieties of pumpkins and I just can't wait to grow them. So the way the Three Sisters works is, like I said, the beans use the corn as a trellis. Then the squash plants, because their leaves are so big, they shade out weeds so the weeds can't take hold. And they also keep the soil cooler for the beans. Now the beans fix nitrogen, which the corn can't access this year, but it will be available next year. So you can actually use the same plot over and over and over again. So yeah, I think this is perfect. It's gonna be so fun. I don't have space in my home garden to do this kind of thing. And so I wanted to not just have flowers out here, but also be able to grow a little bit of veg. And the other thing I did today was rig up this shade cloth. It is 60% shade cloth. It's not made for this greenhouse. As you can see, it's not that big, but man, does it make a huge difference in here. It is markedly cooler. And so I still would like to cover, these windows for the more morning, but this is the afternoon sun right here. We are at, what time is it? It is 1:30. And so the afternoon sun is almost directly overhead. This table is now somewhat shaded, which is the seedling table. So it is really good. I'm so happy to have it. It won't really do much in the winter time, but that's okay. In the winter, when the sun is lower on the horizon, I don't really need the shade in here. So I'm really pleased with this. They are magnetic tabs on this, but there's hardly anything in this greenhouse that's magnetic, believe it or not. It's like a poly system. So I did attach it to the parts that I could that were magnetic, and then I tied ends where I couldn't. But I'm so glad I had this, and I wasn't going to use it at my other greenhouse because, man, 60% shade cloth. It's a beautiful thing. So that's it for today. I'm gonna come back tomorrow and dig the trenches for the 1/2-inch tubing here so I can put it underground so nobody trips on it. And then I'm going to lay the drip tape for the upper beds. Even though nothing's planted in them yet, I can turn those valves off and not water an empty bed. But we're gonna be gone all next week for spring break to Seattle, and I can't let this stuff sit unwatered. So those beds back there are totally protected because they're on the drip and they've just been receiving their water that way. And I don't have anything really planted up here yet. There's just a little spot of agrostemma, but that's fine. Oh no, I'm sorry, ageratum, not agrostemma, ageratum. And those I can leave those 4 lines on, so they'll get water while I'm gone. I hope to be able to get the rest of the 3/4 tubing laid out to cover the other beds while I'm gone, but Griffin, being the sweet person that he is, offered to come by and water while I was gone the stuff that is not yet on drip if we can't get to it. And I told him then if that's the case, he should go to my house and take every tulip that's about to pop, because I'm not going to be here to to harvest them. So hopefully he will take me up on that and just fill his house and his friends' houses and his family's house with flowers. Anyway, that's going to be it for me today. I will see you tomorrow.